So guys, let's get started. Kapil is joining. So how many of you thought that we are done with the event? Just after okay, cool. So the idea was, I think the first session was with Rajat. The second was with Kapil. Okay, so we took a small break, but the small break became huge. It got into a conversation. So how many of you are gamers who will understand, don't respect time? How many of you are gamers but respect time a lot? Okay, wow. Rare breed, of course, yeah. So sorry for those guys, we didn't respect your time, but I think they'll be back. So meanwhile, I think let's do this more of an interaction. Okay, I think the first session was with somebody like Rajat, obviously a lot of gyan, experience of the last decades. So this one, 20 plus, yeah. So now let's give it up for Kapil, the young sort of CEO from Meta Studios. Thank you once again. So after that awkward exit, that was a game that was, the plot was very different. So it was, right? So so Kapil is back and, two versions, yeah, the version 2. So let's make this more interactive. I'm sure that, it won't be boring. So if it is, raise your hands and let's make it more gamified. Okay. So Kapil, so firstly, journey, we'll get into all that. Why Metaverse? Let's kind of ask Meta Studios because आपके नाम में Metaverse है, मतलब Meta Studios है. So in the context of Metaverse, I think Rajat's previous thing was a detailed sort of history of Metaverse and all that. But in your case, right, being a consultant at PwC and working in that space and building a practice in Metaverse, for some of you who do not know PwC, it's a consulting firm. So yeah, so coming to Meta Studios as a CEO, right? That is transition. So for those who do not or not from the gaming industry, how many of you are not at all in the gaming space, like not connected to the gaming? Okay. So I think that question is very relevant because the future of everything is going to be on Metaverse. So I think the last takeaway for me was like Metaverse is going to be like a layer on top of Android, on top of everything, right? Like basically it's a layer. So with that, as a spirit, and Meta Studios is an interesting name. So you also run Meta Engine, right? So there are two companies. So tell us a little about the context of Metaverse and how it is relevant to your vision at Meta Studios, and also a little more about for those who are not in the area of gaming and Metaverse, including somebody like me. Primarily, I'm doing this because I support or evangelize anything futuristic, and I believe that Metaverse definitely has scope. Though I'm not from the gaming world, I'm nothing to do with the gaming world, but I definitely am a tech evangelist. I've always, throughout my life, always believed in things that are different. So when blockchain came to India, I probably was one of the first community, evangelist in Hyderabad. In 2017, we got Joe Lubin from, Consensus. So we did a lot of such things as part of very mad and crazy people and community that we have. And Metaverse obviously is the present. It's not the future. And this came out of a conversation with Rajat. And our conversation also has been pretty recent this year, Jan at IIT Bombay. So a lot of passion and a lot of things are there. So over to you. I think it's such a long question, but how would you unfold it in terms of Meta Studios?
So I'll divide it in like 2 or 3 parts. One is like why Metaverse, right? And there I think we have quite a few things in similar. Like you mentioned, like something new, something creative, something which is changing, that is something that you really connect with. I'm the same. Throughout my life, I have been a fan of creating something different. Whether it is a company, whether it is a song, whether it is writing a book, whether it is studying, anything that eventually leads to creation of something, knowledge, product, company, anything, right? Classic example. This is an example I always used to take back in the day when I was running a label. Releasing a song is literally like giving birth to a child. Right? You write a song on a blank paper, you start on a blank paper, then music starts adding to it, the first beat, the second beat, then it becomes a melody. then it becomes a complete song. Then it is sounding odd. So you do a mix and master. So it becomes a beautifully sounding song that you can jam on, that you enjoy. You have heard it 500 times because you have made it. But that becomes like, okay, this is special. Then it goes in the market, then people start listening to it. You see one person shaking his head on that song, that brings a smile on your face because it's like your creation. You created it and now people are enjoying it, right? That's literally a creator's journey. And this is the smallest example that you can take about creating anything, right? So that's who I am. Like, I love creating, and that satisfaction of creating something and seeing the journey of it. Sometimes things work, sometimes things don't work, part of the life, right? When it does not work, you learn something out of it and make sure that next time it does not happen. So always been a fan of creating something and enjoying that journey. And
We are living in times of generative AI.
Oh yeah.
So many AI tools, right?
Yeah.
Just as context, right? Where
Yeah.
do you stand as a company?
Oh yeah.
You also integrate a lot of generative AI stuff inside.
So we have started doing that very actively now. So we have our head of AI integration who takes care of integrating AI elements in our gaming engine. So taking a step back, we have our own gaming engine on which so far, like it has been in existence since 2001. So far more than 600 MMORPG games have been built using that engine. It's a post-multiplayer development. Imagine like 50 users building an environment together. Interoperability that we spoke about, we are really trying to get deeper into that aspect, and scalability. How you can host multiple, hundreds and thousands of users in one single virtual server. So that's the gaming engine, and on top of it now we are adding a layer of Web3 integration. So if any game studio wants to build a game, you don't have to worry about the Web3 integrations of it, because this is something that we firmly believe in, that when you start making a game with tokenomics, with blockchain integration, with all these things in mind, you are really not giving it a life. You are just thinking about making it an economic model. Rather, it should be the other way around. Make a cool game that will that people will really enjoy, and then, of course, in that journey, transition to making it economically viable so that everybody makes money, and you also, as a developer, eventually ends up making money. So,
Quick question, because I think the economics and viability, right, as a game versus making the game itself, it's a very debatable thing, right? How many of you struggle to actually make a model to make money in the game? Is that the right context in terms of talking about? Because I think the creative elements of the game itself are the thing. It's also monetizability, right? I think a lot of startups that probably you can ask them how hard it is to monetize their games.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, let's even start with that question. How many of you all think in this context that if I'm making a game, one is what is the first thing that you focus on? That what is my focus? The game should be fun and everybody should enjoy playing it. Or second, how do I create a economic model in the game? Which side of the table do you fall in? The first one, making a game fun that everybody should enjoy. Raise your hands. And the second one, that it should be economic model so that more and more people come, they make money, everybody makes money.
I think that also.
Yeah. Also, of course. Also, right? So, in the Web3 side of the world, many this Web3 games start from the second. Many. And that's why. Yeah, I mean, take classic. There's this game Star Atlas. It's on Solana. They have 38 or 36 blockchain engineers and 3 or 4 game designers. Blows your mind. Like, yeah, because they are like, we have to create. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's another fact. Like, even the parity in terms of payment. So what are you building? Right? Are you building a game or are you building an economic model? So, and that's why the adoption in the Web3 gaming is at a low right now. Because you will play a game when it is fun, right? So drawing that balance is very important. And that's the kind of ethos that we try to do. So as Meta Studios is the game development studio and the immersive experience development studio, so we make sure that we are building fun experiences that then we can, so that we don't have to worry about all these integrations that our engine and our infrastructure takes care of. So that's where we kind of come into picture. But I'm not sure if, because all of us raised 2 hands, that's why you guys did that. But I'm so glad to see that here, at least in this room, people are really focused on making fun games. Because that's what drives fun, right? That's what games are supposed to be. And most importantly, if the game is fun, if the game is engaging, it will end up making a lot of money. There can be 10,000 things that you can do to make sure that it makes money.
Now, again, a critical question is, before you make money, pay puja chahiye. Like, you have to make some survival, right? A lot of startups, right? Let's talk about the early stage of 0 to 1, right? And it's nice to see that you have a model of services and product.
Yeah.
Now, many of the companies, maybe many of the startups, you should ask them, what are they doing to survive? So, also crafting a revenue model in the early stages without kind of disturbing the ethos, disturbing the creativity and the game. How do you balance that, right? That is a critical question.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think could be done, because you have an interesting model?
Yeah. So, and that is precisely why we have these two focuses. When you are building a technology, when you are building an infrastructure, it takes time, right? When you're building a game, for example, game building takes time. Making cool game takes time. So how do you kind of divide everything that you're doing in your company in steps? And with each step, that should be like a milestone. So what we do, that is why we divided the business in two parts. The engine thing, the infrastructure piece, that's going to take like 8 months, 9 months, 10 months to kind of come in its form. When it comes, it's going to be scalable. It's going to capture the market, but hopefully. But till then, how do you survive? Either you end up raising a lot of money from investors, that takes care of the bills, or you create a revenue generating model on the side. So if you are on that side of the table where you're able to raise money from the investors, fine, you're well taken care of, so you don't have to worry. You keep building what you're building. But if that does not happen, and it's fine, like in business, it happens many times that you're not able to raise money, but you have faith in what you are doing, so you want to keep building. That's when dividing each and everything. So you don't just step for the end goal, you divide everything in steps. You divide everything in milestones and take a call on यहाँ पे कैसे पैसे कमा सकते हैं. What can I do more instead of just building? Can I do something else also that can pay the bills? So those kind of strategic decisions, and it's going to depend company to company, founder to founder, team to team, कि आप किस तरीके के काम, the projects you are doing, which can give you a venue to kind of start making money in the journey.
As an investor, again, it's a different thing. If somebody is doing a side gig, I don't know how you look at such a company, but survival is everything, right? So being in the game dev area as a game dev, right? How many of you are actually developers? Designers, how many of you are designers? Okay, and developers? No. So, and how many of you can actually be on any of the freelance platforms and make some extra money or making it, right? Good number. And why are the others not making it? So maybe
they're just not raising their hands.
Yeah, but do you think that is a good approach, given that a startup requires everything, right? A lot of focus. At the same time, you have to kind of build an alternative.
So channel. There are two philosophies that exist in the startup world when you're creating anything, and there is no right and wrong about it. Philosophy number one is that whole story that a team crossed the river, went on an island, burnt the boat. कि अब तो पूरा वो island capture करके वापस आएंगे. Only one approach. No matter what, we are gonna do this. चाहे कुछ भी हो जाए, survival हो ना हो, we are gonna keep building. Do we need the mic?
Yeah.
I think it was. Yeah.
Recording. No, it is the.
Oh, okay. It's recording. Okay, sorry. So that's philosophy number one. That you keep focusing no matter what, you don't deviate, you don't have a plan B, there is only one plan. नवाजुद्दीन सिद्दीकी, like 10 साल लगे, 15 साल लगे, 20 साल लगे, चाहे कुछ ना हो, मैं एक्टर ही बन के जाऊंगा. Right? Brilliant. Respect. Hustle. Takes a lot of guts to do that. The other approach is practical approach. Always have two plans. Right? ठीक है, build करना है, 100% करना है, but at the same time I have to take care of my family as well. Everybody has a different set of responsibilities. Everybody comes from different backgrounds, right? So then you have a plan B, the survival thing. You figure out, should I do something on the side as well to make money while I am still chasing my dream, right? So there is no right and wrong. Which category do I fall in? In different phases of my life, I have been in different sides of the table. So I don't advocate one over the other. When I had less responsibilities, I didn't have to take care of my family, I was all out. चाहे कुछ भी हो जाए, like ठीक है 5,000 a month, I'll still survive, fine, वड़ा पाव खा के रह लेंगे, लेकिन जो करना है वो करना है. When family comes and all those responsibilities come, you become more practical, then you hedge and you figure out what's the best way to kind of still chase your dreams, but have a stability, have some practical sense to it that it pays your bills as well. Now, again, if you are on two-plan approach, right? Even in two-plan, there are two ways to do about it. Number one, for example, let's take game building example. I want to build a game. I keep building a game, but to make money, I do something separate, some side hustle. Or second is, while I'm building this game, can I build it in a way that it also pays my bills? Maybe the development and the completion will be longer. Instead of 6 months, it may take 1 year, but I'll continue to do the same thing, but while making some sort of money. So all these things there is no right and wrong in this. Everybody will have a different philosophy, but everybody is in a different stage in your life. So my advice would be like, be really practical, take those calls, like which situation are you in and what is it that will allow you to be like move forward with the most sensible plot in mind.
So like you said, so in the context of Metaverse, given that people have to make a buck as well and do that, right? So what would you think are the top 3 or 4 or 5 opportunity areas in Metaverse that people can kind of, so one is of course a long-term rate. Now somebody like a Brahman Studios, for example, okay?
Cool game, by the way.
They build like a big game, and it takes time. It's not like some digital app ki humne kuch Me Too model bana diya na. So unlike any other startup area, it's gaming kind of thing, according to my kind of observation, is a long-term game. Game itself is long-term game. So you can't get an exit like doing a digital startup in like 3 days, and you can build literally an app in 3 days. We know it. We've done it. So 3 days you can build a front end, 3 days back end. But game, especially given the context of its huge back end, the computation, and depends on what you're doing it. So there are 2 segments, right? One is casual games, and you've got to be either lucky or you should have like a very clever plot and do kick-ass marketing and all the clickbaits and all. Or you build a very traditional huge game and a lot of messaging, a lot of building education on the characters, a lot of building is there. Now, in the context of what you said, right, NFTs plus blockchain and Web3, what could be the short-term sort of goals for startups in the area? Right? Every startup may not have that bandwidth to think of, say, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, right? On an average, I think it takes a certain amount of time for this domain to really kind of even raise money from investors, right? Yeah. So, any alternatives or like top 3 areas or opportunities that you see?
Very difficult question, by the way. But I can share my thought process in when it comes to building anything, whether it is short term or long term. I'm a long term guy divided into short term, multiple short terms. Follow an approach which can get you associated with more and more people. If you have the numbers, you will have success. Game bana rahe hain, it's game building is going to take 6 months, 1 year. How can you have a model, or can you have a demo, or can you have anything built which allows you a feedback loop? I'm building a game, I think it's going to be awesome, it's going to change the world, but that's what I think.
That's exactly why we've done this event in first place, so that people like them can actually get it.
Yeah,
so you're proving it's validation sort of.
So like my son is the best son in the world, no matter what, because it's my son, right? Like I gave birth, like he's my blood. No matter what, I'm gonna do whatever to make sure, like that he wins. But that's because he's my son. Can I say the same thing about somebody else's son? I will be very objective in analyzing and giving feedbacks about somebody else's son. The same thing. It's your game, your baby, your product. You will love it no matter what, because you are creating it. You have decided the story. You have done the coding. You have done the art. It looks amazing. Yeah, because it's yours. Take it out. So feedback loop. I call it feedback loop. Like your feedback loop should always be as short as possible. So create things that you can take out in the market, or take feedback from people, and that will keep giving you a realistic output in terms of, okay, am I going in the right direction? Do I need to change something else? Okay, now this is working, this is not working. Let's twist this, let's keep this. And using those models, because that allows you gain numbers. And if you have numbers, money comes. Chase the numbers. The money will come. And now in Web3, there is a reason it is known as creators economy, right? There can be like 100 models. I can't like really categorize 1, 2, or 3 because depending on the product, depending on the project, there's gonna be like different models that will work. But if you have the numbers, money comes. Dropping NFT collection. If you have a strong community, for example, people are raising millions because they have been able to create a community of people, right? So run behind numbers that can associate with you with more people. And most importantly, I can't emphasize on it so much. Keep your feedback loop as short as possible. Don't go in the room and come out after 6 months building something. Hey, I built the best game in the world. No, the world has changed. World is changing every month. Create something and be live, be present, go out and talk to as many people as you can. Give demos to as many people as you can. Raunak told me he created the demo of his game in 10 days. I loved it. Very good. I'm not played your game, but I'm sure it's going to be amazing. I'm waiting forward. Yeah. But that's a good approach, right? Even in our company, we do it. Like we are talking to one of India's and I think globally biggest publishers, and we are looking at building a game together with them. But the approach that I'm following there is, I don't know, are they going to sign a deal with me or not? It's till the papers are signed, till the money hits your account, the deal is still floating. So till then, how can you be practical? Can I, because it's the world's biggest publisher, should I put all my company resources, all my employees to do those things? No, I'm doing 10 projects at a time right now. Even though I have this one of the biggest deals on the table, I'm still doing 9 other deals, being practical. I'm going to them with a demo. I'm going to them with a game design document. My concepts, my everything is in place. If they say, this works, done, let's do it. Then again, 1 month later, again, there's going to be a meeting. Does this work? Yeah, let's do it. Does not work? Let's modify. Feedback loop. As a company which is funded, still I follow this approach because I'm a big believer of keeping your feedback loop in everything that you do as short as possible. That keeps you closer to the ground.
Excellent. I think that feedback loop is a very good insight. So in terms of, let's say, gaming, right, as an industry, I think we spoke that just a while ago that it's the best time perhaps. There's a positive investor sentiment, and despite the fact that most of the games may not have a monetizable plan yet. I think if you ask like what is your plan to monetize, they'll be like हमने तो game बनाया है, अभी इसको कैसे बेचना है हमें नहीं पता. So and a lot of them probably might struggle to get the numbers of it. I mean, they might need some mentoring or some sort of thing, but in the context of this, right, when you see gaming, it's much bigger industry than music and film industry, as Rajat always says, and you also in fact made the statement last time. So gaming being this big, Metaverse becoming more and more popular and being the present, right? What are the industry use cases and applications that you think beyond just the game? Some of them, for example, making a tourism metaverse, for example. He has a game too, and it is actually more like a Google Cut tour guide. So it's more like a hybrid between a game and a real life application.
Absolutely.
A lot of such interventions. So in most of the cases, you might find that, right? So any top areas that you think Metaverse can kind of be a monetizable thing, while actually the original idea is a game. Right? For example, it might be a game, but you might see a metaverse spin in that, right?
Yeah.
Given the current sentiment of the
Oh no, absolutely. That's a brilliant point. To start with, everything that happens virtually is a game. Small, big, minor, gigantic. Everything that you're seeing and experiencing online is a game of one or the other sort. That's number one. Let's first of all address that. Second, the modifications to it that allows you to reach different sectors, different markets, which is the term which is coming out, gamification, right? That is where we are seeing a lot of boom, lot of interest coming in now. What is gamification? Theoretically speaking, or rather, like if the definition, if I have to put, inserting gaming elements in non-game environments that gamifies it. Right now, for example, we are having this chat right now. This is a one-to-one chat. Now, if this becomes like a more, fun-driven exercise, that's like we have gamified an interview. Right? There are like, instead of just me talking to you, I do some or the other activity. That's like a fun-driven. I've gamified the environment. Very, very big example. Actually, it was a bad example. But this, for the traditional companies, now it's becoming a big go-go. Now, take an example of any traditional company like Samsung, for example, right? How have been they reaching out to their consumers so far? they come out with a product, they create a beautiful advertisement around it, take like some superstar in it and release it on the TV. That's how step number one, that's how they do it. Second, when social media became famous, they started doing activation campaigns on social media, then physical events, etc. Now how are they doing it? Now they're going on party night. That's where the crowd is. Now they are finding much more fun and engaging ways to connect with the youth of the country. That's gamification, right? Now, if anybody knows how to build games, and they also know how the real world operates, how these traditional brands, how these companies want to connect to their consumer, you can become a bridge to that. And there's a huge demand for people like this who understand both sides of the things, right? Hardcore gamer, brilliant. Like,
very excellent point. Very well articulated.
Yeah, you have to, the bridge.
The real world businesses and a medium to kind of enter that, right?
Yeah, because who pays? Who pays money? Yeah, that's a brilliant example. So many brands, like 200 brands are working with Rajat right now. There is a reason. Right, Rajat has been able to put these traditional brands in a fun environment. People like to have fun. If there is a fun engagement happening, if there is an environment where there's fun. We are sitting here. I hope you are finding this conversation interesting. That is why you are sitting here. If it was boring, you would have left by now. Right? So, how can you engage with the people? And any brand who has money, brands. If you build games, who's going to fund it? Who's going to pay for it? Some or the other brand. Right? Not me. I'm gonna buy a game of like $1,000, but somebody will have to pay for the whole bill. Game development is an expensive exercise, right? Who's gonna be it? Some or the other brand, right? So because they have the money, so getting closer to people who have the money in the most productive manner. And I always put it in two baskets. One is a proper core game development that in itself is one of the best things to be done. But if you have to connect it with the traditional side of things and using your game development skills, then gamification is the answer, because you become a bridge between the hardcore game development and the brands who want to reach out to their consumers. Again, coming to my point, numbers. How do you reach more people? If you're able to connect more people, you make money.
Also, yeah, I mean, excellent way of looking at it. So if there are some startups, right, that or games that essentially are in Web 2, we were just chatting, and that probably will see better light in Web 3 environment, right? Where there's a better scope, for example, to sell NFTs or to have more monetizable options. Not forcibly do it. So he was actually, you were saying Brahman Studios can also see a Web 3, So in case there is such thing, right? What kind of resources in terms of technology? Because making in Web 2 is relatively different. Making a same thing in Web 3.
Yeah.
So how do you see such a, what could be the changes?
Yeah. I'm a firm believer of taking gradual steps. If you are in Web 2, you have made an amazing game, don't directly jump to Web 3. You have a game development team, hire one person or get one person to consult you that, okay, this is the game. अब इसमें क्या-क्या next changes कर सकते हैं, which opens the door to monetize it. You have like, it's a battle game, so you have swords, you have this thing. So now if you have the users, can I sell these swords as NFTs? Right? Now if I have sell it, why should somebody buy my NFTs? You provide some utility to it. Baby steps. So that is why somebody asks me, like, I'm a firm believer of Web 2.5. Not directly jumping into the whole Web 3 element, but again, taking it gradual, because then the numbers are important. Ultimately, people are going to play the game. Ultimately, school-going kids, college-going kids, they are going to play the maximum amount of games. Right? So the more simpler you keep it for them, the better the chances of mass adoption. So if you directly switch to Web 3, your audience becomes Web 3, which currently is comparatively lesser. There is the biggest number of people sitting in the Web 2 world. So if you, like Rajat put it, right, you will be operating in the metaverse without even knowing that you are operating in the metaverse, because that will be the underlying foundation of it. That's the right way to put it. Your game, if you don't even realize that it's a Web 3 game while playing, but it is still like the backend, you have taken care of it so nicely that, okay, I don't even realize it's a Web 3 game. I'm making money, I'm playing, I'm having fun, everything has been taken care of. That's the success. But that does not happen like this. Take some steps. Like how gradually you transfer your game and adding more elements to it, building some community around it, building some NFT elements to it, putting whatever parts are required to be put on blockchain. First of all, does it even require to be on blockchain? Just because Web3 is so buzzing does not mean that you have to create something in Web3. No. If already it is so cool, then why do you need Web3? Don't put it on Web3. But some elements, because Web3 provides you with a lot of more flexibility, a lot of more, that there's a reason it is known as a creator economy, because it opens doors for many things. So put those pieces there and then see how it is working out and then take the next step. That's very important. So slowly and steadily, one step at a time, not completely transitioning, because then again the whole debate that we were having, it becomes an economic focus instead of a game focus. Keep it a game, add economic elements to it, and that will take it to the next level.
I think what we've done for this game expo, right, is so there are some parameters that every game has, right? Make the environment, the gameplay. We made some sort of interesting parameters and the feedback loop, right, for each of the games. Are there any techniques or ways in which you can get a feedback in a very good way?
Oh yeah, amazing.
Of course, there is Discord and other communities, but what are some hacks and growth hacks where not just the feedback, but also a very constructive critic, right? Where you can probably get elements like, okay, maybe I should add something like this on top. I think the success primarily depends on how quickly you are making that pivot. Yeah. Right? If it is already good, it is okay. If it's not, then you have to take a call.
Yeah, I mean, that's the simplest part actually. You get to know, like, if somebody's sitting and playing your game for more than 15 minutes and they have a big smile on their face, you're doing something right. As simple as that. Even if it is new, nobody has known about it. I'm not playing Call of Duty because the entire world is playing Call of Duty. Right? So sorry, like most of the people play Call of Duty because the entire world is playing Call of Duty, and that's when they get introduced to it, and then they fall in love with it, right? Because there's a huge billions of dollars spent on marketing and everything. That's when, but we buy it because it's a big thing coming out. But your game, you built it, you came out of your room, you came out of your development studio, and somebody's playing it for the first time. Nobody knows you, nobody knows your game, but they have a huge smile on their face when they're playing it. They're engaged, they're asking you 10 questions. That means you've done a good job. If they leave your booth in 5 minutes, that means you've done a bad job. Sit with them, grab them, take them for a coffee, do whatever, take feedbacks. What went wrong, and spending time with the right set of people. That's important. I think this is very important. Build something, go out, spend time with people, be in every community, every Discord, every Telegram channel where people discuss games. Keep sharing it with them. And like, of course, and try to spend as much time in person with people, because ultimately you make games for humans. It's a tech product, it's an online virtual thing, but humans are going to use it. How their emotions, how they respond to your games, that's important. You need to study that. That's very important. That does not happen way too much in virtual world. You have to do that, like virtually share it. You can't be everywhere. It's important. But I'm a firm believer of these kind of things. If you have to be as much as you can do in person, because you can study. Ultimately, just keep this in mind. Whatever you are making it for real people. So the people connect, understanding people, what brings smile on their face, what immediately drop the focus, where did you lose them, was the game too difficult, was the game too easy, was it engaging. I was recently in Singapore this whole week for a Web3 gaming conference by Google and Jump. There, the games that had come, they have been building since last 2 years, 3 years, and then they did this whole demo of the games. Every gaming booth, because of course it was Google, they called only the best ones. Every game that you played, people were hooked onto them for half an hour, 1 hour. They were not getting up. They got up because they wanted to move to the next booth.
I use the right word, hooked. Right? So how many of you find it extremely hard to make something that's hooked? Like, how many of you feel that you already arrived there?
How do you judge that somebody is hooked or not? First of all, that's important. How do you judge that somebody is hooked? How many people? How many of you have your booths downstairs? Game on display. Okay, let's go one by one. How many people came to your booth so far? Okay, what's your feedback on? Did they like? Did not like? How do you know? They said it. That's not trustful. People lie because. That's not the right judge. How did you judge that they liked it or not? That's the answer. But they completed the whole mission, and then, but again, so I will just like respectfully add another layer to it. They completed the whole mission, but while they were playing, again, judging these things are very important, because people usually want to be nice. Anybody who will come to your booth, they'll say, "Hey, I loved it, very good job." Nobody's gonna say, "Hey, shitty game." No, why would they say it? They're meeting you for the first time, right? And if they're giving that time, they will play. But while they are playing, judging, spending time with them, sitting next to them, what do you think, explaining them the game, asking them questions while they are playing, that's very important. Reading each and every minute of how they are spending their time on your game, that's very important. That's judging, and that's how you get to know like whether they were hooked or not hooked. Yeah, any other this thing? What do you think?
Well, that's the critical thing, right? Before the game actually goes to mass.
Yeah, yeah.
The numbers.
All some 30-40 people came, I guess, and they all loved the game. They said they loved the game, but like one thing I noticed was there's 3 people standing, and like so I was explaining the game to 2 people, and so he asked him, "Do you also want to try?" He's like, "Ah, no, it's fine." So then we went more deeper into the game, and I was explaining to them. He's like, he himself, "Can I play?"
Yes. That's right. That's the thing. Taking that extra effort by sitting with them when they are playing, and spend as much time after you have played. Spend as much time as you can with strangers, people who know you. They will be nice. Go out, find new people to kind of spend time with and making them play your game, and especially people who are going to be like really honest, and strangers, that they can you can judge them a little because of their body language and everything. That's going to be very important.
Any kind of synergies that you see with these startups or as such in Metaverse, right? So anything that you see can be done. If you have some ideas, let's kind of brainstorm and probably go into people.
I would rather like to.
3 things that you have in mind in terms of talent, in terms of synergies or strategic partnerships. Like when you call yourself a Meta Studio, right? Like you have a host of Metaverse things, I assume.
Yeah.
So what are some synergies that you think can be explored?
So I would rather like to put it the other way around. What do you guys think? Right? Because we had this chat and I'm really keen, right? Rather like let's trying to make it interesting, right? Starting with you, because you mentioned like game studios came. What's your plan to kind of take it to the next step? How do you see that happening? And what kind of partnerships do you have in mind to take your game to the next step?
So the kind of game that we are making is actually for Web2 initially we started, but the kind of game design that organically grew in seeing the craze for the NFT and the whole kind of making money through playing games has caught up, and I think the kind of design that we have really works well with that aspect. So like earning while you're playing and you can actually take it from another. So it's like a kind of a challenging thing, right? So I can actually steal money off you, and if I play better than you. So that's like a very interesting economy, because at the end of the day it's competition. Gaming is competition. So I think that is one aspect that we can actually explore. So
That answers.
It's a very interesting way of putting it.
Exactly. And that answers the question that we are talking about, right? You didn't need anybody else to tell you this thing. You figured it out while playing, more people playing it and understanding what's working, what's not working. That's exactly the key. The more time you spend on this, you figure out these hacks. Other people, when they come and advise you, that is why the term is advise. They advise you. They can enhance what you are doing, right? But the heavy lifting has to be done by you, right? So this is, I think this answers. I don't want to spend more time on it because this has been a beautiful example from the people themselves.
Somebody like a tourism, what kind of partnerships do you think you can? So he's in the area of Metaverse, creating Metaverse tourism. So basically the tour guide use case that we saw.
So actually we have seen from like there in India, we got kind of a glimpse of, we have shown that glimpse of us. So they said we can make it as a, like all India ones. So they and the customers have an experience of where it cannot be working in the real life. So you can have an overview of the real life where the like happy that has been challenge has been lost and everything. So where we want to be creating the like making them to go to the past, how the happy has been destroyed. So which gives them to promoting our culture and everything. So which makes us India's richness to be increased.
For him, somebody in the tourism space,
Yeah, I mean,
promote like culture, tourism,
exactly. So
very bodies, right? So
Ministry of Culture or anything. But one thing that I would like to add a flavor to that is you are taking the traditional approach, like telling people how traditionally Hampi used to be, right? That's what you want to do. Exactly. How does people want to see it on ground? What's the research that you have done on that?
So to the like depends on their continent or on their whether it may be the point on their continent or else if they
No, my question is, do people want to see the traditional Hampi?
yeah,
How? How do you know?
like we just renovate the as per the like designs we just renovate the
No. So, sorry, let me rephrase my point. What you have done is brilliant. Of course, like Hampi has always had a traditional beauty. Would I want to go and experience that ecosystem? 100% yes, right? But I'm saying that this, again, you're making this product because you wanted to build it, and like, what was the reason behind, or let me rephrase it again, what was the reason behind choosing this to be built, like showing traditional Hampi to the people of today? What sparked this?
So many of them don't know the value of this kind of a heritage of the particular places. Like because everyone thinks the pyramid is a high, because we talk about other countries, they have created some big architecture and everything. But many of us doesn't think about our architecture, how we have built in the Asian times. So I was thinking like we want to promote ourselves first of all through this kind of
Okay, and how do you plan to make money out of this?
so it may be like through the like kind of advertising of a like virtual tourist to the B2C person of who is curious about in the traveling for place or like
Virtual tourism. Why virtual tourism?
yeah.
And virtual tourism not to the current Hampi but the traditional Hampi. How many people? How many people do you think? How many people visit Hampi every year physically?
So like physically there is around 65,000. But like depends on the season because in it is located in the Mysore nearby, right? The last time is like pandemic, right? It has been huge. More than 2 lakhs members have been registered. So depends on what the nearby surrounding.
And how many people do you think will visit it virtually?
Especially because at the time the COVID have been, so many of them things like because right now Hampi has become a R&D for the architectures to explore the things.
Architectures. Go ahead, continue. Sorry, please continue. I was just here.
It can be the research of the architectures and it can be the archaeology also who can explain their R&D research to the normal persons who are for the schools. So
Schools. Go on.
a kind of an education purpose for education and
Got it. So, yeah. So, who can give you access to this? Who's going to be most interested in making sure that people visit the traditional Hampi? Yeah, schools, right? But who will be most interested that the traditional Hampi gets highlighted to the people of today? Who will benefit the most out of it if that happens? Students will learn, but who will benefit? Who said government? Yeah. Right. So you got the 4 partners that you have to focus on. The answer.
The F&B guys and the hotels around Hampi also.
Yeah, but that if you are,
All the people around it.
so if you are able to capture these 4, these are the 4 doors that you have to knock on, and you yourself gave the answer. That is, please, my apologies, I was drilling it because I wanted to get the answer from you itself. These are the 4 doors that you have to knock. You knock these doors, make sure you build an amazing product that can make them happy because they are gonna win. Ultimately, as a product developer, you win if the person who's gonna use the product wins. So you have to step yourself in their shoes, right? So who do you have to make win? Them, these 4, not yourself. I'm not making the traditional Hampi because I want the world to see traditional Hampi. No, nobody. It does not matter what I think. I am making traditional Hampi because these 4 bodies would benefit if traditional Hampi gets highlighted and gets viral. So these are the 4 doors you have to knock with this narrative that you just explained. And if you get them, and because they will then make sure that it becomes like a popular thing, you will get users. And if you have users, the industries will come who will pay all the bills. So this is like the same. That is why I did. Yeah, that is why I wanted to do this exercise, drilling down, because every product that you make, just keep drilling this. You will have your own answers.
Great. So you highlighted the role of community. Let's wrap it up by actually saying, maybe kind of pledging on how we can build a better community in Metaverse. While I think there are many that Rajat may be part of, but being in Hyderabad or any other city, right, even Bangalore, for example, I think there needs to be a lot of folks, right? Every startup here, they might be part of an incubator at STPI or the Image Tower, but I think still idea validation, accelerating, getting this exercise and drilling, right? It will be much faster at a rocket speed if there is a community. And there is a regular sort of, not just talking shit and going on, but I think an actionable sort of a steering things. And for example, maybe after the second month, there has to be a review on like where they've gone, and it could be interesting correcting of dots. As you rightly said, 2 months later, I think the industry may kind of be in a different place, and your model also, you might find better partners in different domains.
Yeah.
So Avika jo assumption and all that, today it might look good. So we have to be so fast, right? I mean, it's all speed and so what is your any specific sort of commitment as Meta Studio?
Oh.
Build a metaverse community.
Oh, 100%. That's why, like, this is my, I was talking to Rishabh about this is my first time in Hyderabad. And I have been so keen because I've been hearing about it so much. Some of my friends stay here, some of my previous business associates stay here. I've always been hearing that so much is happening in Hyderabad. I was just finding a good reason that can bring me. And when Kashyap said I'm doing an event, I said, you're doing it, I don't want to know anything about it, I'm coming. Because that gives me the best way to kind of connect with people, right? As Meta Studios and as Kapil, 100% committed. Anything. But again, before even I answer that question, I want to take a step back so to kind of make sense to what I'm going to say. Community building, right? What is community? If I can ask you, anybody, just raise your hands. What do you understand by community? Okay. What is the purpose of building a community?
Raising money or maybe anything.
Direct on the point. So बताओ पैसे exactly. The reason I ask this question is majority, and this is how majority of the people perceive communities as one-to-many approach. I built a community for this purpose. Let's say Meta Studios built a community. Why will Meta Studios build a community? So that tomorrow I can benefit from the community I made, and that is why I will invest, and that is going to be in my favor. So that's the purpose of, let's say, Kapil will build a community for Meta Studios because I want to benefit something out of it. But this becomes one-to-many. This is not the typical community. This is a business marketing. So there is a difference. Sorry? Oh, yeah.
There's a business network international करके there's a group. So there's a very interesting approach that they have. It's like Nanda kind of community.
Yeah.
They come and they say, I sell this. What do you want to buy? You know, it's like a round table sort of thing. So that's one kind of. Community.
That's one, yeah. So if you want to achieve something, please go ahead.
Also, like a community gives you a lot of love, right? Like a kind of like a backbone, right? To have validate.
Oh yeah, I am in favor. I'm not saying community. So that is
More like a family, right? Extended
Of
family.
community building also, like for anyone involved, like as creators, like you're saying, what's the fun of creation and seeing a smile on someone else's face? To know that we can give it to someone else and someone else also sees this world the same way.
Exactly. Let's give a round of applause, please. This is real community. Yeah, this is real community. Not one to many, many to many. When any group is created with this ethos, that in this group we will achieve something which benefits everyone. Not if Kapil is creating a community, I will build a story that everybody gets something, but eventually I get the most. That's not a community, that's business. People do it. I'm also part of many of these communities. It exists. It's fine. Everybody goes somewhere. If I'm investing my time, I want to win something out of it. It's fine. But I'm not going to call it a community. I'm going to just call it to be a part of a network to achieve something. If we have to build a community, who are we again? Taking a community is what? Bringing people together. Who are people? How has human civilization survived so far? How has people grown? How have we evolved? By growing together. The world has moved forward because everybody has moved forward. Right? So that's the real community, when if you can create a group, bring a group of people together in a manner that everybody gets something out of it. Everybody benefits. Right? And that's why I particularly personally love Web3. Most of the people that you will meet here, they are more than happy to connect you with anyone. Because if everybody wins, Web3 wins, right? But again, Web3 this has become famous because it was a new industry and everything, right? But at the end of the day, that's human ethos, right? As good people, we get I'm from North, and this is what like me and Rajat were talking. वहाँ पे like it's we like in Delhi. People are very this thing. You find this thing. Let's connect. Come on, you need something. Let's connect. It's similar. I don't want a 2% commission because I connected you to Ashok. Ashok is a builder, a publisher. You are building a game. I'll connect. Okay, deal happens. I'll tell Ashok, give me 2%. Sometimes make money, fine. It's okay, but that's not how things work. That's not how a community grow, right? So first of all, the most important is accepting that fundamental that we are building a community. We are building a group with this purpose that everybody wins. If everybody wins, then everybody wins, right? I don't have a conclusion. I was thinking I'll have a mic drop conclusion to it, but everybody wins, then everybody wins. Then what the hell? Come on.
I think it's a nice way to kind of say, right?
Yeah,
So I think
it's very important.
give in the community rather than ask. So usually what happens is otherwise it's a transaction. मैंने पूछा तो उसने मुझे मिलना चाहिए. That's more of a
And it won't survive, trust me. How many communities have we seen building and being fizzling out? Many, because of this very reason. Unless why in Web3 games, how does that take connecting it with the whole economic model angle, right? How Web3 games make money? What is the game publisher or game developer thinking? Is the game developer, the moment game developer starts thinking कि मेरे पास ज़्यादा token रहेंगे मैं बनाऊंगा and everything, the slowly and steadily the game starts moving out. But the moment they think I make a strong group of people and keep rewarding them in a manner that they want to keep playing. So I as a game developer start thinking for my gamers कि मैं इनको और क्या दूं, right? So that everybody, each one of them also start connecting with each other and everything. Those are the kind of games that succeed. The same ethos. Like you rightly said, I agree with it. The value system that has to be very correct. And if everybody starts, and this is a thought that I love to patronize because I'm a firm believer of that we should really be happy to support each other in any manner, in any capacity. हर किसी की capacity, हर किसी की position अलग होती है. But in whichever position you are in, trust me, everybody can support everybody. If that happens, and with that value system, if we create a group, then the success is going to be manifold. More and more people will want to be a part of it. More and more people will win out of it, and everybody will succeed.
I think also naturally, right, speaking of all the domains, gaming is a natural domain to build a community.
Oh yeah.
That is why Discord is so much gaga on the game. I mean, most of the Discord is all gaming communities, and it was built for gamers, right? So, was. So, having said that, I think it's a good sort of way to finally say that you're up for a community. And so, any questions to Kapil in terms of as a founder or even as a metaverse believer or yeah.
Actually, I have you mentioned before as a playtester.
Sorry?
Yeah, playtesting.
Playtesting. Okay.
So actually, Valve, Steam Valve, they believe in playtesting. From Half-Life 2 to Portal 2, they believe in playtesting, which they made every feature. They used to work on the first 5 days on the week, and the last 2 days they used to make the playtester sit and make him play and ask him what is the flaws and everything. So playtesting is important in every game development journey. Without playtesting, there is nothing. Even your bot game you learn, that would be collapsed.
Yeah.
That's the you have to prefer we love our game in that time also. We have to love our players also. If they are loving the game, that's good. If they are not loving it, what's the point of making our game?
Yep. Absolutely. Agreed. 100%.
One actually has a huge community of 970 people in Dallas. ठीक है मैं ऐसे वो record करने का so and I've done for so largely they created that kind of community where it's not business. They just bring people and ask them to keep on playing games, whatever. And in between they put their games as well. And just capture every single time their developers are capturing only one particular feature. Even if the guy is doing everything, right now they are just looking at ballistic, their games. Looking at the ballistic, how the ballistics are operating, how the movement is operating. Today we are going to see only the ballistic part. So all eyes of all guys is on, checking the ballistic. While everybody is having fun and all, and goes all night long with free beer and all those kinds of things. So that's the purpose, that's what we usually do. And cannot discard. In this city, we also have a group of 300 people, who come to us whenever, even when we are doing an event or something like that. We bring in people, and it goes on for months and months and months before it gets deployed. Only they get the NDA and other things that we need to sign and people. But you need to have, and in fact, one of the game we were making for blind people, and we had a club called VIP. VIP is basically the visually impaired people, but treated as VIP because they are coming and playing our game and giving us the feedback how blind people can also play games without even eyes. So that's a cultural thing. Play testing has to happen. In fact, some of the games like Team Fortress I'm talking about, 9 years in development, 2 years in production, 7 years just play testing and balancing the game. So, and same with Oblivion, 9 years of development, 6 years
only in the pre-production and balancing out and everything, only in the periods of so there are like tons and tons of stories like that. So, and this can be gamified further, this panel. If you ask question and he'll actually offer beer. This is what you want, right?
That's the part of the next part actually. That's post event, any other questions, guys? Anything open? Anything broadly? Go for it. Yeah.
I would love to know what like Meta Studios. Talk about that much. Like Meta Studios and like your company base.
So we have two focuses. One is we have like I briefly mentioned about it. We have our own gaming engine. About 600 games have been built on that, and we are building a Web3 layer on top of it, so that any game developer can build a Web3 integrated game without worrying about the whole boring part of integrating it with blockchain and NFT and everything. You focus on building a cool game. We will take care of the integration part. So that's our engine business. Studios business is like we develop games, we develop immersive experiences, we work with channel partners, consultants, the traditional brands, gamification of their experiences to help them reach out to their consumers in a new age fashion, the whole metaverse gamified business side of things. That's what Studios does, developing those actual experiences. So these are the two sides of businesses that we have.
Last question for sir. I have a last question. So, any advice for if he wants to I want to make a game. I want to build a startup. So I'm like flying in the sky with my imagination. So yeah, player will play my game. So any advice that he will bring him, drag him down to the ground?
Reality check.
Usually when people come to me, and in fact some of the people keep talking to me all the time, whenever somebody comes and does this stealth mode, I just get the fuck out of it. I don't want to listen even the second word also after that. The minute I hear stealth mode, because that's a curse, has already been discussed here and stuff. And so many times I literally threw people out. Probably it's something very great I anyways, coming back to the fact, and I was working on that game. The idea was brilliant. The game hasn't been done like that till date. And trust me, I played pretty much every single game, good, bad, and ugly also. I have played Velvet Assassin also, which nobody has done. And if you go to my Steam, you'll see 100% on CD Projekts about this thing. Cyberpunk also, 100% completed. Right? So the fact here is what I'm trying to make is that, I was so attached with that game and the idea, and I did 60% of that game. And then finally shit hit the fan, and I had to cancel that for some odd reason. I was almost, I don't want to call it suicidal, because I was not, but I was like heavily depressed, and I understood that, my life ends here because that's the game I want to play. And as a game developer, as they were talking about your passion first, the game first, right? Not how you're going to make money out of it and stuff. It's an expression of your creative thought process, right? And that's exactly what that game for me. What finally I had to cancel, and 6-8 months of very bad time. And after that, I came up with an idea. That idea and the game that I made won the Indie Innovation Award in Hamburg, Germany. And I said, life didn't stop there. And from there, over and over again, we saw not just creative success, monetary success as well. And so we understand that, okay, जो होता है अच्छे के लिए होता है, जाना चाहिए. So let go वाला part, because probably if you are giving too much of your creative juice to one game, which you think is the greatest game ever made, probably is not. And the world doesn't need it.
And just like one last thing, if I want to say, like we're like amazing young folks here. So I really want to say this, guys. It's very important. As important as it is to develop a good game and go through this stage, the most important thing is to learn to sell yourself. Very less. Sometimes many people pay very less importance to it. Please practice a lot, learn and master selling yourself. Nobody else will do it for you. And if somebody else does it for you, you will be taken very good advantage of. Please learn to sell yourself.
The best CEO in the world. The Amazon's global CFO was CEO in my company. I had to fire him. So the thing is that, and yes, it's right, you mentioned, in fact, one of the videos which keeps talking about, this thing. So I did it in one of the Thai events. But I said, God has given you two eyes. So one eye can see passion, other eye can see money. एक भी गया ना दे.
Yeah, very good.
Awesome. So thank you so much, guys. I think it was nice having you. Thank you to both Akhil and Rajas for their time, and thank you so much, Rajas. You stayed till the second half as well.
It
So
was fun.
and thank you.
It was very personal, right?
Yeah.
Like very nice.
So I think the idea is to continue this dialogue. So this is not like a one event where we go home. So we will form a small community after this, which means it will be a group to start off on Discord. I think Sarva mostly will be on it to create a Discord community, and we also have a startup by the name Talent Map, which we'll probably share, where we're trying to get a lot of talented folks in different domains to one platform. And as part of the community building activity, we'll kind of get some of you, and we'll see how it goes. But idea is to get all of you so that we don't miss you out. It's more like that. So what's the best way to do that? Any jugaad quickly, like instantly, so that we don't lose them. Huh? Yeah. Yeah, I think most of you have registered or the data is there, right?
I have the game director.
Okay, so some of you are walk-ins here, no? You just walked in, right? Okay.
They are from backstage.
Okay. Fine. I think then we'll somehow find you. So once again, thank you. I think we'll wrap it up here. And Sunday, okay. So Sunday we're doing a open mic pitching of games, and we have Gametronics, Rajat, basically giving away the awards. Okay. So there's going to be a prize money. We'll announce it very soon. So those of you who have like brilliant game ideas, okay, don't be in stealth mode. Okay, this is the learning, right? Don't be in stealth mode. Start selling yourself, and there's no better way to get the idea out to as many people, right? Yeah. I think this is the greatest learning for me today. Okay, and so all the best. Look forward to Sunday. It'll be here. It's the same place, we'll have like people coming in and you can pitch your game idea. If the game idea is good, and Rajat will probably invest in that, and that's what he's looking to do. So
At least the vertical slice guaranteed money.
yeah. So that's the announcement.
That's recorded also.
That's recorded also now. So let's kind of get a group picture. Let's kind of
Instead we go there. No?
yeah, we go there. Yeah.
It's
Maybe we
easier.
should do that.
They remain seated there.
Yeah. You want to do that? Maybe they have the camera set up here. You want to take a picture? No, fine.
What?
No, that's a live thing, no? So they're doing a live thing.
The live is done, right?
That's right.
Now what? So
You can just get a picture. So maybe
yes, I have to leave
I
after
think
this.
it's,
My son is cooking something for me, so I have to leave.
is it okay? So we'll not be able to make it to the next meeting.
Watch for that.
We'll plan it on Sunday.
He called me just for that. That I'm looking at it. He's like,
Okay.
he's here only for a month or so. Like,
Oh, yeah, yeah. New York man.
Pennsylvania.
So can we kind of meet Rajiv or some other folks because Kapil is here?
Rajiv is in France right now.
Achha, he's not here. Who are the other people that we can meet? You mentioned some of the companies that I never heard of, like gaming ones in Hyderabad. इतने सारे हैं तो why don't we do a catch-up?
Internet zombies they're like amazing there.
We should somehow get all of these guys into because I even
They
spoke to
people
image
learn a lot
also.
from
Image also. I don't know. I didn't. They somehow were supposed to be part, but they came somehow. But
It was
you could be a
dressed
better
up also, right? हाँ, but I
नहीं we went
मैं
to
बोलेंगे तो
one
आएंगे.
month
Who is
back.
it?
हाँ. And I told you also not Vaga and all that. Somehow couldn't. But you can pull I think at least 4 or 5 good OGs. By Sunday I think we can plan a meet.
Yeah, let's talk to
You are here? Sunday.
Yeah, that's
Okay, can we do
Back to
this
that.
quick?
Yeah.
हो गया फोटो हो गया
Can we have a group pic?
because of the logistic issues you guys need to
Yeah, you guys. This needs to be taken.
instead of sending the important tall ones behind, we'll make them sit. We have the.
Sure, we'll take a photo there. I think lighting is better. ठीक है ना?
हाँ,